Welcome to this presentation on referencing, designed to support you as you start your qualification here at City College, Peterborough. This is part 2 of our Preventing Plagiarism guidance, following on from part 1 on paraphrasing. My name is Zoe Rogers and I'm a childcare tutor here at the college, and I'll be talking you through the presentation today. This presentation has audio throughout, explaining the content of each slide in more depth. If for any reason you cannot listen to the audio recordings, please see the notes on each slide for transcription. The aims of this short workshop today are to understand what referencing is, to understand when you need to reference sources, and to develop referencing skills. The objectives for today are to be able to identify when a reference is needed, to practice writing references for commonly used sources such as books and websites, and to know where to go for referencing support. Before we learn how to reference sources, we need to understand what referencing is. Referencing is the method of acknowledging the use of someone else's work in your own. Referencing follows certain rules, and it can take time and practice to learn how to reference effectively. The references that we put within a piece of writing are called citations and are a short version of full references. Full references are then presented at the end of your work in a reference list, enabling the reader to relate the citation within your writing to the source in the reference list at the end. Referencing styles or systems. There are different referencing styles that you may come across during your time as a student, including but not limited to APA, Harvard, and MLA. The majority of UK colleges and universities use Harvard referencing, and this is the system that we use here at City College. So this is what will be explained in this presentation. Now we know what referencing is in general, we can start to look specifically at the Harvard referencing system. This is sometimes referred to as the author date method because all references, including citations, will start with the author or authors' names and the date of publication. There are specific ways of referencing information depending on where it has come from. For example, books will be referenced slightly differently to websites or journals. For your course, you are most likely to need to know how to reference 3 key types of sources: books, websites, and PDFs. This table shows you how to reference the 3 key source types that you're most likely to use. It will be useful for you to have a copy of this, as you will need to refer back to it when you first start referencing. You can screenshot this page of the presentation, or this document is available for you to access via the resources section on OneFile. On the following slides, we will go through how to reference each of these source types step by step. Let's start by looking at how to reference a book. The first part of the reference is the author. This should be written as their surname and then initials, for example, Baker B. And if there is more than one author, their name should be listed in alphabetical order. Next, we write the date of publication, the year that the book was published. This can be found on the first few pages of the book, where the publisher and place of publication will be listed too. The title of the book comes next. Make sure this is the full, correct title and not an abbreviated version. This should be written in italics. Finally, add information of the place of publication and the publisher's name, separating these pieces of information with a colon. The full reference should look like the one highlighted on the bottom of the slide. We have the authors listed first, Baker B and Burnham L, then the date 2010, followed by the full title written in italics, supporting teaching and learning in schools primary, and finally the place of publication and publisher name, Harlow Heinemann. Referencing a website is similar to referencing a book in terms of the order of information in the reference. However, there are some differences. When creating a reference for a website, we start with the author or authors' names, surname and then initials, and if there's more than one author, names should be listed in alphabetical order. Some websites may not state an author, so in this case, you should use the name of the organisation. Next, we list the date that the information was published or most recently updated. Some web pages will not have a date. In this case, we simply write no date. The full title of the website comes next and should be written in italics, followed by online written in square brackets to clearly state that this is an online source. The website address comes next, so we write available at, followed by a link to the web page. Finally, state the date that it was last accessed by you, written in square brackets. This evidences that the information was correct at the time of your research, as websites are often updated with new information, particularly where they discuss legislation. The full reference should look like the one highlighted on the bottom of the slide. The author or organisation first, NSPCC, followed by the date, 2021. The title is next, Keeping Children Safe Online, and is written in italics, with the fact that it is an online source written in square brackets after. Next is where the web page is available, written as available at, followed by the link. Finally, the date accessed is stated at the end of the reference, accessed 22nd of December 2021. Let's look at referencing a PDF next. Again, the format of this is very similar to that of referencing a book or a website, but there are some differences when writing the reference out. We start with the author or authors' names, surname, and then initials, and if there is more than one author, names should be listed in alphabetical order. Some PDFs may not state a specific author, so in this case, you should use the name of the organisation. Next, we list the date that the PDF was published. This is not always written on the document, but can often be found in the link if it isn't stated elsewhere. Occasionally, the PDF will not be dated at all, in which case we write no date. The full title of the PDF comes next and should be written in italics, followed by PDF written in square brackets to clearly state the type of source. The web page where the PDF is available comes next, so we write available at, followed by the PDF link or the link to the website it can be found on. Finally, state the date that it was last accessed by you, written in square brackets. The full reference should look like the one highlighted at the bottom of the slide. The author, or in this case the organisation, is first, Department for Education, followed by the date, 2021. The title is next, written in italics, Statutory Framework for the Early Years Foundation Stage, followed by PDF, written in square brackets. Next, we state where the document can be found, writing available at, followed by the link. Finally, the date accessed is written in square brackets, accessed 20th of December 2021. So far, we have looked at how to write the long references that will be listed at the end of your assignments, but we also need to consider how we reference information within the text. When quoting someone else in your writing, you need to make this clear within the text. In-text references are also called citations and are written directly after the quote and correspond to the full reference in your reference list at the end of your document. The citation should include the author of the source and the date it was written or produced. For example, Department for Education, 2021. You will need to create a reference list at the end of your assignment, which will link back to your in-text citations next to your quoted information. This is different to a bibliography. A bibliography is where you list all sources that you used to help you write the assignment, whereas a reference list only includes sources that you have used specific quotes or ideas from. For example, if you have read from 3 different web pages about the Health and Safety Act, but only quoted from one of them, you only need to include the one you quoted from in your reference list. There are times when a bibliography will be needed rather than a reference list, so speak with your tutor about which they would like to see for each assignment. You should list your references in alphabetical order. You can do this automatically in programs such as Word by highlighting the text you want to order and clicking on the icon shown above in the header ribbon. This is an example reference list featuring the demonstration references that have been used in this presentation. You can see that they are all full references and are listed in alphabetical order. Finally, some tips for referencing. It takes practice to be able to reference effectively, and it can seem daunting when you first start. So follow the rules closely for the source you are referencing. Always ask for help if you need it. And remember, your tutors or assessors are not expecting to see perfect references, especially when you first start referencing in your assignments. So give it a go, and they can then offer you feedback to help you improve. The level you are working at will also influence how thorough your tutors want your referencing to be, so discuss the expectations with them. We've come to the end of this short course and workshop on referencing. If you have any questions about the content of this workshop, please do not hesitate to contact your tutor or assessor for further support.